Listen, Finesse, he was saying something like these rappers getting, what'd he say, bodies.
Something about a tummy tuck. Yeah, he most definitely, I think he most definitely do a shot. They saying that he probably be talking about bag. Nah, you ain't talking about bag. A bag sharing in music.
Hey, bro, you want to talk about me? Nigga talking about bag. What you talking about? I ain't got no tummy tuck. My shit flapping.
Pooh Shiesty recently returned from his federal lockup and instantly ignited the most baited conflict of 2025, which has Memphis picking teams. Following his victory walk back 2 blocks, Pooh Shiesty released a line so insulting it left one of Memphis's highly honored artists feeling totally offended. The startling reality behind what is truly fueling this feud includes cosmetic operation claims, federal inmate dynamics, and blood devotion that is poised to split Memphis rap circles. Hey, how is everyone, gang? We are going to explore deeply into some authentic Memphis hood tension that has been rattling the rap world since Pooh Shiesty released that massive explosion during his initial release day in 2025. Thus, before we begin this crazy journey, let me be totally honest with you. Online platforms have been acting completely wild, claiming Pooh Shiesty returned from government custody solely to instantly trigger drama with Finesse2Tymes. But look, we are going to distinguish the truths from the lies, the authentic from the fraudulent. Beginning 2025, that is precisely when everything shifted for the Memphis music community. Pooh Shiesty, newly out of federal incarceration after completing his sentence, should have been honoring his liberty when he released First Day Out, and added a lyric that had the entire town whispering and choosing factions. Now, wait a second before you begin assuming this is merely some typical musical feud. This concerns actual hood affairs, relative bonds, and claims that might ruin names and finish professional lives. However, here is where things turn truly interesting. So, listen, Pooh Shiesty releases First Day Out during 2025 and strikes everyone with that phrase. I heard street dudes getting tummy tucks. Told you these rappers lame? That is some truly insulting vibe right there, folks. Within rap society, particularly in Memphis's hood music, calling somebody out regarding receiving aesthetic operations is essentially doubting their entire criminal status. The second that track released, the web went totally insane. We mean roughly 3 million plays in under 24 hours. Popular on every site, and each Memphis journalist analyzing whom Pooh Shiesty was actually mentioning. That verse felt unique because it was not merely some accidental insult. It was precise, intentional, and meant to strike where it stings deepest. Currently, Finesse2Tymes, being the authentic person he remains, at first stayed calm. During talks, he said, "I am unsure. It is amusing to me, but as for the web, they will grab and perform what they wish to do with it." Finesse2Tymes was attempting to ignore it, claiming that entire track was not concerning him. Honest speech? That is some wise spirit right there, proving he isn't seeking to fuel the conflict. Yet here is what many individuals fail to comprehend regarding Memphis affairs. When you have been detained in government cells like Pooh Shiesty was, you are receiving all your data indirectly. You are learning about feuds, tension, and events via telephone talks, notes, and guests. Thus, when you return home, your viewpoint could be formed by dated news or unfinished tales. But look, this is where the narrative becomes heavier than merely some indirect lyrics. Notice, Finesse2Tymes' personal circle began agitating the situation. His siblings spoke officially in a talk essentially validating that Pooh Shiesty was truly aiming insults toward Finesse2Tymes. When your personal relatives are stating you were insulted, that alters the entire situation. Understand me. It applies weight on you to reply because currently it is not only about what unknown people online believe, it is about how your personal kin views the matter. Currently, within the blocks and in Memphis tradition particularly, we recognize that cosmetic surgery claims feel unique. It is not only regarding looks, it is about doubting somebody's genuineness, their criminal reputation, their entire identity. When Pooh Shiesty mentioned street dudes getting tummy tucks, he was essentially stating, these guys are not truly about the lifestyle they show. In a town like Memphis, where your name is vital, those are hostile phrases. The actual twist, however, Finesse2Tymes returned, using a separate perspective. He asserted Pooh Shiesty was not mentioning him whatsoever. He was discussing Moneybagg Yo. And to comprehend why that is logical, we must plunge into the entire Big 30 and Moneybagg Yo feud that has been ripping Memphis into pieces for seasons. Allow me to explain this Big 30 event for you, because this conflict goes further than many folks understand. Big 30 and Moneybagg Yo were once close. Big 30 was inked to Moneybagg's Bread Gang via CMG.1. They were producing tracks together, touring together, and creating something unique within Memphis rap music. However, everything shifted when Big 30's relative Nusky was murdered during January 2022. Based on Big 30, Nusky was performing tasks for Moneybag, managing hood affairs that Moneybag was unable to manage personally. Look, Moneybag was reportedly being pressured by certain men in Memphis. Thus, he recruited Big 30 and Nusky to serve as security and shield him against the stress he was experiencing. Nusky was not merely some minor associate. He was kin to Big 30 and was reportedly among the most busy men in town. January 28, 2022. That is a moment that altered everything. Nusky had recently departed Big 30's concert at a nearby secondary school, displaying affection and backing for his cousin, exactly how kin ought to, yet only a few hours following exiting that performance, Nusky was discovered deceased, struck several times in the Whitehaven district, where he matured. The identical blocks that nurtured him turned into the site where his existence ceased. Here is where it turns truly offensive. And this is what actually severed the bond between Big 30 and Moneybag Yo. When Nusky perished, Moneybag shared some shattered heart symbols on online apps, behaving very pained and crushed. However, when the moment arrived for the burial, Moneybag was not to be seen. Within Hood tradition, failing to attend someone's service when you asserted they were kin, that is a huge betrayal. Folks, that is essentially stating every bit of care you displayed virtually was fraudulent. Big 30 believed like Moneybag had utilized him and his relative for security. Yet when the period came to prove true devotion, Moneybag was absent from duty. Per Big 30, they provided energy to Moneybag's label, forced the town to honor him. But when his friend was lost due to what Big 30 termed those weak things, Moneybag did not even attend the ceremony. This marks where the cosmetic operation rumors initially began. Big 30 turned aggressive on Moneybag, releasing "How could you?" He stated, "I exercise and go drop pounds. No chance at all. I am giving a surgeon money to fix my features." That served as a blunt attack on whispers that Moneybag Yo had received fat removal and separate aesthetic surgeries. Big 30 was essentially arguing, authentic hoodmen do not seek operations to appear handsome. They gain their marks. Moneybag was unable to permit that insult, so he replied through airball. And that song was brutal. Guys, Moneybag labeled Big 30, a traitor who was attempting to settle agreements without his knowledge. He asserted that Big 30 was lying regarding everything and that he had in fact assisted Big 30 further than Big 30 was prepared to acknowledge. But the most crushing detail was when he insisted that Big 30 give back his Bread Gang necklace, stating Big 30 was not loyal enough to symbolize the label now. Look, this is when we must discuss the obvious issue here. If Pooh Shiesty was truly mocking Moneybag Yo using that surgery lyric, why did Moneybag share the track on his social feed and mention Pooh Shiesty? And why did Pooh Shiesty share Moneybag's update proving they are friendly? That is not logical if there is actual conflict between the pair. Yet here's the detail that has everyone puzzled. Pooh Shiesty could have authored that verse while he was still held in government lockup. Throughout that period, Big 30 was currently feuding with Moneybag Yo. Thus, Pooh Shiesty would have been learning about all that tension from inside jail. When you are confined, you are obtaining news via phone, talks, and notes, and your outlook becomes influenced by what your circle is relaying you. For individuals who understand the lifestyle, Pooh Shiesty and Big 30 have deep history. They are each original creators of Choppa Gang, remained close from youth, patrolling the blocks of South Memphis as a team before they ever held a mic. When your lifelong friend is fighting with someone, you naturally are going to support them. That is simply hood, devotion basics, and it does not signify if you are jailed or liberated. Choppa Gang was not merely some musical team. These men were truly on the blocks together. Pooh Shiesty, Big 30, Lil Hank, and separate affiliates were dominating South Memphis and creating a status as one of the most dreaded groups in that region. Thus, when Big 30 felt insulted by Moneybag, that offense reached to the entire gang, including Pooh Shiesty. Finesse2Tymes has remained steady in his reply, however, and I must honor how he is managing this. He is stating he in fact enjoys Pooh Shiesty's tracks and appreciates him as a creator. During talks, he has stated, "I produced a track when I was being emotional, but I did not feel any type of way regarding anything. It was amusing." That is some truly wise spirit right there, proving he is not seeking to worsen the matter. Yet his siblings' talk shifted everything, and this marks when relative patterns start to matter. When blood relations begin validating that you are mocked, it places you in a spot where you nearly must reply. It concerns honor and how you are viewed on the blocks. Your personal kin is essentially stating, yes, he was referencing you. So currently, what will you perform regarding it? The blocks are whispering, and based on what we are told, this might end either path. Pooh Shiesty might have been mentioning Finesse2Tymes, might have been mentioning Moneybag, or might have been mentioning both. That is the appeal and the peril of indirect insults. They allow space for analysis, but they additionally allow space for errors in judgment that may become fatal. A separate factor folks are not weighing is that Pooh Shiesty recently returned from government lockup. When you are under federal parole, you must act uniquely. You cannot simply be out here triggering drama and making trouble, because the authorities are monitoring everything you perform. Thus, perhaps that line was not intended to spark conflict. Perhaps it was only Pooh Shiesty, sharing his thoughts regarding the lifestyle overall. Let us also discuss the commercial aspect of this. Finesse2Tymes is proven. He possesses his personal brand, his personal group, and he is honored across the South. Pooh Shiesty is attempting to restore his path after being jailed. Neither of them actually requires this tension, but occasionally the blocks do not worry about what makes professional logic. For those who might fail to grasp Memphis's hood tradition, let me clarify. This town is tiny, and each person recognizes each person. When you insult someone, it is not merely about that individual. It impacts their entire gang, their kin, their status on the blocks. Memphis is additionally a town that has sacrificed many gifted folks to feuds and hood affairs. So, these events are constantly perilous. Within hood lifestyle, receiving aesthetic operations is regarded as violating the rules. Authentic hood men are meant to be okay with conflict marks, with appearing rugged at the borders. When you begin obtaining waist reductions and facial adjustments, individuals wonder if you are still about that existence or if you turned weak. It concerns genuineness and remaining loyal to your origins. One more detail folks do not realize is how incarceration impacts your outlook. When you are jailed for seasons, you are obtaining news indirectly via notes, phone talks, and guests. Your grasp of conflicts and events might be ancient or unfinished by the moment you exit. Thus, Pooh Shiesty could have been replying to dated data or matters that had previously been settled. Inside Memphis, devotion frequently beats commercial logic. You could possess chances to earn cash with somebody, but if they insulted your circle, that professional bond is not occurring. That is why this event is so intricate. It is not merely about musical drama. It concerns actual bonds and actual devotion that dates back seasons. Online apps have altered how these feuds unfold as well. Long ago, if you had problems with someone, you managed it on the blocks. Currently, each thing becomes scrutinized virtually. Each lyric gets studied, and followers choose factions before the creator even realizes there is an issue. That weight from digital platforms can worsen matters that could have been settled quietly. Ultimately, this matter is not merely regarding a few lines in a track. It concerns how these performers steer their paths progressing ahead. Pooh Shiesty recently returned home and is attempting to restore his energy. He possesses the skill. He has the block supporting him, but he additionally must be clever regarding how he acts because he is under federal parole. Finesse2Tymes exists in a separate spot. He is proven, he is honored, and he possesses his personal brand. But within Memphis, honor is vital. And if folks believe you were mocked and failed to reply correctly, it may impact how you are seen on the blocks and within the business. That explains why these events are so fragile. The reality that Moneybagg Yo shared the track implies that either Pooh Shiesty was not mentioning him or they have resolved their problems. But the blocks do not overlook, and that Big 30 conflict is yet boiling beneath the exterior. Moneybagg sharing the track might also be tactical, proving that he is not bothered regarding certain lyrics. This event additionally impacts how separate performers in Memphis act. If you are friendly with both Pooh Shiesty and Finesse2Tymes, currently you may need to choose a faction. That is how these feuds expand and impact the entire community. Creators who had zero involvement with the initial problem get dragged in due to their bonds. Regarding Pooh Shiesty particularly, being under federal parole signifies each action he performs is getting monitored. If this matter worsens and becomes aggressive, he might land back in jail. That is a fact that must be considered into how he manages this conflict going ahead. The actual inquiry is where will this proceed from now? Pooh Shiesty is in a fascinating spot. He has the energy from his liberation. His tracks are getting plays and he has the blocks backing him. But he additionally must be wise regarding how he acts because a single bad move might return him to government lockup. Finesse2Tymes appears as if he desires to stay quiet. But if the stress continues growing from his circle and the blocks, he may need to reply more bluntly. Occasionally in rap, failing to answer is viewed as frailty, even if answering might not be the wise professional action. Truly, Memphis rap music is at its peak when these performers labor as one rather than against one another. The town has sacrificed far too many gifted individuals to feuds and hood affairs. Young Dolph, King Von's link to Memphis's tension, and separate events have proven how fast these conflicts can become fatal. This event is additionally regarding the larger perspective of Memphis rap. The town is at last receiving the credit it earns with creators like Moneybagg Yo, Pooh Shiesty, Big 30, and Finesse2Tymes all creating countrywide buzz. But local drama can damage the entire community and shift focus away from the tracks. Ultimately, this entire matter demonstrates how intricate Memphis hood affairs truly are. It is not merely about musical feuds. It concerns devotion, honor, kin, and how you steer bonds when each person recognizes each person. It concerns government parole, commercial affairs, and digital platform weights all meeting at one time, underneath all the rugged speech and hood status. These are actual individuals with actual bonds and actual results. Pooh Shiesty only desires to restore his path and look after his kin. Finesse2Tymes desires to keep his honor and persist in creating his brand. Neither of them likely desires this tension, but occasionally the lifestyle requires it, regardless if Pooh Shiesty was referencing Finesse2Tymes, Moneybag Yo, or merely providing a broad remark regarding the lifestyle. One fact is certain: his lyrics possess strength and results. Within a town like Memphis, each verse counts. Each lyric gets studied, and each insult can alter bonds permanently. Optimistically, wiser minds win, and this does not worsen. Memphis possesses too much skill and too much promise for it to be ruined by local conflict. The actual foes are hardship, absence of chances, and the structures that hold folks confined. These creators ought to be laboring together to shift that, not battling everyone. What are your opinions regarding this entire event? Do you believe Pooh Shiesty was truly mocking Finesse2Tymes, or was he referencing somebody separate? And how do you believe this ought to be managed, progressing ahead? Post your views in the remarks, and ensure you sign up for more Memphis Hood Affairs analysis. You stay secure out there and realize, occasionally the truest reply is zero reply whatsoever. Take care, and have a great day. Bye.